Welcome to a nourishing midweek lunch hour conversation with Spokane's newsmakers, thought leaders, and popular entertainers. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Welcome to Spokane Talks Live. It's Wednesday, May 23rd. Have a great day today. It's beautiful out. A couple great guests on Spokane Talks Live. One is Dave Lucas, who is running against Tim Ormsby in the 3rd Washington representative position. And then from the Civil War Reenactment group, we have General Grant in our studio today, plus a Major Inman, who was the medical surgeon during the Civil War. Next on Spokane Talks Live.
Hi everyone, I'm weather forecaster and assignment anchor at Spokane Talks Online, Colin Pittman, and I am honored to be the host of the new program, Spokane's Youth Spotlight, brought to you by Spokane Talks Online and the Spokesman Review, where we are interviewing and getting to know outstanding youth in our community each month. If you'd like to nominate someone in our community that you think should be recognized, that is doing something great here in the region, or has an amazing story, visit SpokaneTalksOnline.com or Spokesman.com and look under Youth Spotlight to nominate. And be sure to tune in each month as we find the best in the Inland Northwest.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Absolutely wonderful outside today. Who can complain about this weather? None of us. I'm pleased to have today a newcomer to politics.
Yes,
Dave
sir.
Lucas. You're running for the 3rd
Legislative district
for Washington.
Washington State representative.
Right. It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
That's why I stumbled on it. In fact, I stumbled on it a couple of times doing the intro a little while ago too. So, and your opponent is the incumbent right now, Tim Ormsby, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you get to go to both the primary and then the general election as well. I've got to ask the question: why run for office?
As I've told people, when you have I deal with scouts a lot. I do a lot of time with that. And when parents end up running into an issue that we're having, I generally very politely and kindly say, thank you. I'm so grateful for your input. It would mean so much if you could come on board and help us with this next year, because it's very challenging. So as I saw things unfold, and particularly some specific issues this year, I realized that it was time to eat my own cooking. And basically either shut up or put up.
Right.
And so
I
talked with my wife.
And she didn't talk you out of this?
She did not. She's a wonderful lady and is very supportive of this. And so we talked with the boys a little bit, and their big, children's humor is, so are you going to be in charge of the state? No, not exactly.
Maybe the state of confusion, but
not exactly. And so that was the impetus to say, you know what? You better do something, and you better get involved and do your part.
It's good that you had a chance to chat with your wife and your kids, because this is going to impact them if you're elected, because you're going to be gone for months at a time, aren't you?
I am, and my wife had a very funny, as we were going back and forth with the discussion, finally goes, will you just do it? It's 10 weeks, not 10 months. Most of these people that are advising you against this have never been on a deployment. They've never been where you're on the other side of the world. You're 5 hours away. We'll see you on the weekends.
That's true, isn't it? And so tell people your background, because you have quite a career in the military.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I retired from the Marine Corps. Did a little over 21 years. Very broad experiences. My MOS, my job title was as an artillery officer. But as I described to people many times over those years, I did things that had nothing whatsoever to do with artillery.
Welcome to the service.
Yes. And one of the things, even as I look at politics, that really well prepared me for is a lot of efforts with coalition building. Particularly over the last couple of years, our last 2 major engagements have required a significant coalition to be successful in those regions. And so have worked with all kinds of different people, all kinds of different religions, different perspectives, different philosophies, and have been able to figure out how to be successful in those environments. And I think that's something that we can really use both at all levels of government, but certainly something I think I can bring to the table.
Now, where were you deployed? You obviously were deployed a couple times.
A couple times, yeah. So the last...
That's how things are today.
That is how things are today, yes. The last deployment was to Afghanistan, and during that, the Marine Corps had most of southern Afghanistan, what was called Helmand Province. And so I was the division Afghan National Security Force Development Officer. So I worked with all of the transition and training teams that were basically working and advising either the police, the Border Patrol, the Army, trying to basically build up their infrastructure. So a very good staff, wonderful advisors out in the field, and just a wonderful...
And your rank was?
So when I retired, I was a lieutenant colonel.
All right. Let me ask the one question, because I'm always curious about these things. What was the one takeaway you have from your experience over the years with the Marine Corps that really kind of set you in a direction? I know there are probably several things.
There are several, but one of the things I tell people about the Marine Corps all the time is it is filled with some of the greatest people of character.
Yeah.
I was just, I mean, the most trustworthy. I mean, and I'm not saying there aren't, you know, issues that happen. There
kind of have to be, don't you?
Yes, but I will say, yes, you do.
Your life and theirs depends on it.
It does. And one of the things that is so great with that is, I mean, I could trust them to look after my family. I could trust them with my life, which is part of the business. But, you know, obviously you try to really do what you can to look after your family, and when you're, particularly when you're deployed.
Yeah.
And those folks were just the amazing people and some amazing friends. And so it was a really good experience, which I think led me to really love Spokane from a standpoint of some of those many same characteristics are here. Great people.
What brought you to Spokane? And how long have you been here?
So what brought me to Spokane, I facetiously say a girl, but my wife is a Gonzaga graduate.
Okay.
And so for her, and kind of in some sense, it's almost a coming home, because she had such a endearing connection.
Absolutely.
And so when as I got back from that deployment to Afghanistan, working with the boys and doing things, I realized the significance of the impact that was having on them, because I was really not around a lot.
Right.
And so that we decided was not a lifestyle we wanted to raise them in.
Yeah.
And so we started looking for a place to raise our boys.
Right.
And a wonderful location that, as
here
in Spokane, here we are.
Yeah.
And we looked at several locations, but as I like to joke, I think it was already decided, which was certainly, in all fairness, she's moved so many times.
Yeah.
It's the right thing to do. And it's such a wonderful community, such a wonderful place to raise two young boys, whether it's an opportunity to go fishing or skiing, wonderful schools, wonderful people. I mean, the friendship, the kindness, the thoughtfulness, it's just a great place to be.
It is. We moved here from the Los Angeles area 42 years ago this September, and people ask me, well, where are you from? And it's Spokane. Okay, 42 out of 72 years here in Spokane. This is our home. Yes, I grew up in Southern California and had family and friends down there, but this is home. This is where we raised our kids. 3 of our 4 kids are here. This is home, and it's a great place to come home to, isn't it?
It is a great place to be home, and that's part of the reason I'm so passionate about trying to do the right things for Spokane, because I really want to see, as my kids grow up, to have the same joy and love and opportunities that I've been blessed with here in Spokane.
Let me ask, okay, let's move from past to future, assuming you're going to be elected. What are the top 2 or 3 things that are most important to you as you've talked? I know you've been talking to people and so forth. I know you were in the parade the other day.
That was a great, we had such a wonderful time.
Yeah, and what a great way to celebrate our armed forces and so forth. Spokane has such a strong tradition here. I mean, you look at Greater Spokane Incorporated, the original chamber that donated the land to Fairchild Air Force Base and so forth. This is a military town.
It is, and it's such a wonderful.
And proud to be.
And it is, and it was so. It was such an honor to be in the Lilac Parade and to just see so many folks being grateful and thanking and just and as I try to articulate back to folks is it was really my honor.
Yeah.
The people of America, the people of Spokane, were worth the sacrifice. It is an honor to be able to serve them, and I hope to continue to serve them. I am as I figured out a little bit of what makes me tick.
Right.
When you kind of leave you're so focused and everything is a day-to-day event. When you kind of have a second to sit back and contemplate, one of the things that really came out of that is I am happiest when I am helping and serving others, and when I get to see others be successful.
So, and you obviously had that in a career in the Marine Corps.
And that was one of the most delightful aspects.
So what would be the top 2 or 3 things that you want to really tackle in the next couple of years if elected?
So one of the things I would like to really see is what we can do to help, as people talk to me about the property crime here in Spokane.
Okay, yes.
As a challenge that people really face.
Yeah.
I think there are some opportunities that the legislature can, at a statewide level, can really help that here.
Okay.
There was a bill put forward last year on a property crime supervision program, which I think would be wonderful to help those that want to get off of crime and out of that circle out of it. And those that make the choice that they don't want to get out of crime, we can put them away and separate them from the people that are being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And
because
so,
there's honestly, I remember in talking with Jeff Holy when he was running for the representative position a couple of years ago, he kept talking about safe streets. And I said, okay, that's coming as being a cop. Okay,
Right.
I get it, Jeff. It's, to me and my neighbors, about a safe neighborhood.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about, is that we want to feel secure, that our garage isn't going to be broken into, that our kid's window isn't going to be smashed open and someone come in the house at night or during the day while they're at school.
Exactly.
It really is important, isn't it?
And well, even beyond just the monetary and the aspect of crime, it is an invasion to those people's. I mean,
absolutely.
when you talk about how people feel, when I talk to the neighbors after somebody has been robbed, it is such an
Their
invasion.
world is turned upside down.
Right. No matter what the cost of it was, it's just, and depending on the family, they're very scared again, and they're just. It is one of those things that it's just heartbreaking. And so I've been the neighborhood council chair for the Rockwood neighborhood and have really learned a lot getting to talk to folks through that. So that's certainly one of the things I would like to do. I'd like to see that. And I think we need to do what we can to encourage the continuing growth of the economy. I think we're starting to see some positive movements.
Yep.
It's been a little bit later than I think than some of the other places may have seen that growth. But we certainly don't want to do anything right now that's going to hamper that.
Right.
And some of the efforts that I think to push some of these taxes forward are not
both
things
locally
Spokane,
and statewide.
Right.
Yes.
That are not going to help Spokane grow.
No.
Aren't going to guarantee good jobs for my kids.
Right.
Aren't going to help those that are trying to move up and have great jobs for their families to be able to have a really good wage.
Yep.
It's not going to help that. All it's going to do is suppress that. And we recently saw how bad that went in Seattle.
Yes.
I mean, the number one
Isn't
company
it
in Seattle.
Tacoma that's offering an incentive to?
And it's only a matter of time. I mean, they're looking for another headquarters, and who's going to suffer?
Yes.
It's not those representatives or those council members who made that decision, because they're already in a fine position. It's going to be those other folks in the community, and that's one of the things that really bothers me.
Yeah.
And as we talked about, one of the terms I've used is restore integrity, and the reason is because I think as a representative, you need to remember that you represent.
Yes.
You represent your community. So I get the fact that there's a lot of pressure from the West Side to do, and there's a lot of lobbyists and a lot of PACs. However, your primary responsibility is to, just like you would protect your family or protect your neighborhood, is to protect your town, your area. You're responsible to represent those people, and you need to do that.
Right. Hey, we're running out of time. Let's let our viewers know where they can reach you and get a hold of you, because they'll want to get additional information.
So my website is www is normal, and it's votedavelucas.com.
Okay.
So votedavelucas.com.
Okay.
And that's my website, and then the email is all on there, everything.
Sure.
Phone contact.
If we can get to the website, we can get other information.
Yes, sir.
That's great. Well, the best of luck to you. I'm glad to see a strong candidate. I'm very concerned about the incumbent, and especially one of my pet peeves is the drinking and driving issue. Okay, I have very little tolerance for that, and so that just to me is a red flag, and other labor and other issues that he has as well. But for me, that becomes a no moving forward, and that's my personal feeling.
And I believe it's time for change,
well,
and I really want to see that positive change. I really would like to be a catalyst for good in the community,
all right.
and just really move forward.
Well, you obviously have the credentials from the Marine Corps and all of that, and welcome to Spokane.
Thank
for you and your wife and 2 boys, right?
2 boys, yes.
All right. Well, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Dave, for
appreciate
coming.
giving me the
We're
time.
going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. One of our guests will be from the Civil War. He's General Grant. Right after this.
See you tomorrow night, and thanks again for taking care of the painting.
I got this.
Bye.
Weekends are made for painting. Let the experts at Rada Paint take care of you.
Hi. This looks amazing.
Rada Paint, over 80 years of quality, tradition, and trust. Find it in every can.
To find the
the right home for you, you'll work with your realtor to compare the properties you're interested in, analyze the market, and figure out a reasonable offer price. And now, here you are, ready to make an offer. Yay, you! Here's how it works. First, you'll complete an offer sheet which your realtor will then present to the owner. Sometimes, a nice note to the owner can help your offer stand out. Butter them up. Tell them how much you love their garden, that it reminds you of gardening with your grandmother as a child. Do not mention you're gonna bulldoze it and put in a pool. The owner may accept the offer, reject it, or counter. It's important to be in close contact with your realtor during the negotiation process so any changes can be reviewed. Your realtor is like your consigliere, and that makes you the Don. Once your offer is finally accepted, there are usually some contingencies that must be met in order to keep the contract alive. Inspections are totally common in real estate transactions. They include termite checks, surveys to determine boundaries, appraisals to determine value for lenders, title reviews, and structural inspections. This stuff is mind-numbingly fascinating. But you know what's even more fascinating? Actually getting your new house.
To help you be safe, Washington state law requires you to call 811 2 full business days before you plan, for example, to dig, drill, plow, pull from, or pound anything into the ground. Be prepared to provide the operator with the correct address, cross street, and a description of your work. You must mark the dig area with white paint. The operator will inform you of the utilities notified of your impending excavation. Wait for all their marks. Be safe and dig with care.
May 23rd, and this is my favorite time of year. I have to be honest with you, because we started doing this Spokane Talks online, now Spokane Talks, 3 years ago, and we've been very blessed because I'm a little bit of a history buff to have the folks from the Deep Creek reenactment,
Yes.
Civil War reenactment, which is coming up this weekend. Here we are again. To have them on and to kind of catch up on what's going on. And I'm most pleased to have back again General Grant. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
You look just good from last. You haven't aged for the last year.
It's been an easy year so
You
far.
go, good. Good. Well, good to have you. And let's just kind of refresh folks.
Yes.
What is this reenactment coming up?
Well, this is the 19th year that we've run this reenactment out in Spokane area.
Okay.
This one out in Deep Creek.
Right.
This one will be a representation of a battle of 1863, the Gettysburg Battle.
Okay. Some will say I remember it well.
Yes, I know the feeling. They always ask me that, and I wasn't there. But we should have upwards of 500 reenactors from Montana,
are you
Washington,
that many?
Idaho. Yes.
Okay.
Yep, cannon. We'll have cannons out there. We'll have cavalry out there, civilians, medical.
Yeah.
Just a very great representation of what went on during the Civil War, including
Right.
civilian camps.
And one of the things that just delights me is the number of opportunities people have over a couple of days
Yes.
to see various aspects of the Civil War and to learn. And I was looking at the website briefly this morning, and it said what to bring, like water and so forth. And the last item was questions.
Questions.
Because that's really key. It's not just to come watch, it's to ask questions and learn.
It is.
Because I'm not sure we're teaching some of these things as well as we should. We lost more Americans in the Civil War compared to any other battle or any other war we've been in.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't know how many people really know that, maybe people my age. But I'm not sure we're teaching that today.
It's not. It's a very, well, they are trying to teach it. They're doing the best they can. They're given everything else they have to teach. But
Yeah.
they come over the Civil War in about a week.
Yeah.
And it's a 4-year,
Yeah, yeah. And a major change in our country.
yes, society,
I mean,
culture,
it was
everything.
really a challenge against our Constitution and what the dreamers and the formers of our Constitution and our country had in mind, and a redefining,
Yes.
if you will, or a refining of it, and so forth. And it's not just as simple as just against or for slavery and so forth. It really had deep roots,
Yes.
didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did. And the interesting part about this reenactment is the people that come out will be able to ask those kind of questions
Okay.
from both sides. We'll have Confederates there,
Yes.
people that represent Confederate units and Confederate civilians, Union. It'll be a fantastic opportunity for
Yeah.
children particularly.
So now what will be your role, other than playing General Grant all weekend? But Are you doing various things during the weekend, or?
Yes.
What do your days look like? And this is Saturday, Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday, and then a ceremony and a battle on Monday.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yep.
That's a full commitment.
It is, but it's going to be a beautiful weekend. And what we have is a pavilion tent we have set up where we'll do various presentations. President Lincoln and I will be discussing the war up to 1863 about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, fun.
But the presentations will include, if you want to how to become a Civil War reenactor. They'll talk about, and General Lee will be there, another reenactor, the Lieutenant General Lee from the Army of Northern Virginia.
Okay.
Just a number of things to teach people about the Civil War and about the people who fought it.
Wow. It's so important. Okay, let's talk about some of the practical things. Where is it?
Oh, it's just west of Fairchild Air Force Base on Highway 2.
Right. So when you go down past the hill there a little bit.
You'll turn onto Deep Creek Road, head north on Deep Creek Road, and it's about 2 miles on that dirt road.
Okay. And then they get there. What's the cost, and can kids come?
Sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
all ages. Can older people get around?
There is a handicap access,
Okay.
And the cost for that, let me check my, it's $25 for the whole family.
Oh,
and that will take
for
care
the
of
whole
you.
family?
For the whole family.
Wow, okay.
Or $10 per adult, 18 years old or older.
Okay.
$5 per youth, that's 13 to 17, and kids under 12 are free.
All right.
And all active duty military are free. All, their families and all.
Excellent. Oh, that's great.
Yep.
I have to tell my son. Okay, that's great. What would be, General Grant, what would be the because you've done this for a while, what would be the top question or two you get asked?
Quite often it's what's the one battle that I regret the most?
Ah, okay.
And that would have been the attack that was ordered on Cold Harbor in June of 1864. General Grant received some incorrect information that he based his decision on and forced that attack, and the casualties were horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
And after the war, he said, that's the one that I regret the most.
Wow. Where do most of the questions come from? From the kids, from adults? I mean, what's the makeup of those attending and asking questions?
Quite a number of them do come from the adults. The children, you take a little bit of prompting. You have to pull them along a little bit.
Okay.
But the questions from the adults are challenging.
Oh, really?
In many cases.
Because you got to know your stuff, don't you?
Yes. And sometimes they will ask that one thing that's on page 100 of a 500-page biography that you've got to try to remember.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. They're challenging. The reenactor who portrays President Lincoln does a great job. We have a great interaction, so we can respond to and cover almost any question that covers the whole period of the war.
Now, you and I were talking before we went on, because the Fox News Channel has been doing this Legends and Lies, I think is the series on the Civil War, and honestly, I record it every week because I want to be sure I get to see it, and I love the history and so forth, and then I was thinking the other day, we're coming up on Deep Creek time. So now some of your compatriots, in terms of no matter which side they're on and so forth, where do they come from to get an interest in doing this? Because this takes some real dedication. I mean, you talk about those 500 pages, but my guess is you've read a lot more than 500 pages. And to keep up on what's going on, my guess is also that you're constantly learning new things too. So how do you and your fellow warriors work on that?
There's an always study. You're always looking at history of what's going, the battles itself, or the entire war. We have people who are experts in weapons. Some that actually build their own cannons and build their own weapons, and we'll have those out there. Nurses, doctors, chaplains, all study what it was like in 1860 through 1865, and then try to present that to the people. So you're constantly studying or learning, and new things come out all the time.
And the surgery, we think of today, and it was a little different back then, wasn't it? What was the movie Dances with Wolves at the beginning of during the Civil War, and chopping off legs and everything else? That's what it was like back then. That was the reality.
And General Grant had a famous story of that when he was at Shiloh. There were so many people that were injured and shot at Shiloh that he couldn't be near the hospital. He had to go back outside and sleep in the rain. They offered him a warm, dry place in the hospital, and there was the blood.
Too much for him?
Right.
Wow. Any other stories about General Grant that you can share with us?
Oh, what an interesting character. Yeah, he never actually talked about drinking in his memoirs.
Oh, okay.
Although that was
part of his life.
Sure, yes, as all of them did. And in his case, he didn't drink any more or less than anyone else did during that period of time. It just affected him more.
Oh, really? Okay.
A small amount could, in the words of one of their contemporaries, it made Grant stupid.
Okay.
And away from his family, that was difficult. He was stationed out here in Washington Territory in 1853.
Okay.
Was promoted to captain and then took over a company down in Northern California and was found probably to be drunk on duty.
Yes.
And offered to resign instead of being court-martialed.
Right.
But honestly, had he not had that experience, he would not have probably been in position to be able to become the commander of the
armies. That was a learning experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, he failed at most.
And we all get those, don't we?
Yes.
Because we're not perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially as a military officer, you have to learn from the mistakes you make and not repeat them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what's the thrill for you to do this? Because this takes quite a bit of time to prepare and then to devote a whole weekend, a 3-day weekend.
Yes.
What draws you to do this?
Just the opportunity to present that side of history to other generations, to younger kids, to other people who've maybe not experienced the military in their life ever, and let them know a small bit of what those people, those soldiers on both sides and the civilians, put up with during the war. It's a very difficult time in our country, as you mentioned.
Yep.
We're still dealing with the ramifications and repercussions of that war right now.
Yes, yeah. Okay, let's remind folks one more time how they can get more information, because you are on the web.
Yes.
I have a website which has pictures and schedules and what to bring, and including the questions and all that. So what's the website?
The SpokaneCivilWar.com.
Okay, pretty straightforward.
All one word, SpokaneCivilWar.com.
Okay, and again, the price for a family is $25.
Correct.
Individual adult is $10. Active duty and their family is free.
Yes.
Doesn't get better than that.
Nope. And there will be an evening demonstration on Sunday.
Okay.
There'll be a separate event. They can come out at night and walk through the camps as if they're ghosts.
Okay.
So it'll be a very good event on Sunday evening.
Yeah. That is fantastic. Again, thank you, General Grant, for coming.
Absolutely,
we appreciate it. We look forward to it every year. And thanks for all that you do, because it's purely an educational opportunity for adults and kids alike. So thank you very much. Thanks for what you do. All right, great. Thanks for watching today. Have a great week. Attend this weekend. It's worth the time and energy, okay? And for what they do, and what they're doing it for us, okay? Thanks. Have a great week. We'll see you next Tuesday right here on Spokane Talks Live.
Spokane Talks Live is produced in Spokane, Washington by Spokane Talks Online, LLC, which is solely responsible for its content. To recommend a guest or topic, or to see this program again, please visit our website, SpokaneTalksOnline.com. Spokane Talks Live is brought to you by our friends at Homes for You and Breakthrough Incorporated. Join us next Wednesday, noon, for another nourishing conversation on Spokane Talks Live.